like celebrities are some, most actually, but are they're called stars for a reason. And if you're into spirituality, this may make sense to you. Um, People are symbols. You understand what I'm saying? Like me, I'm a symbol. You're a symbol. We're all stars. We're all symbols. We're all symbolic. When you look at people that way, the things that they do will look different to you. You'll be able to observe rather than engaging, right? So whether there's someone you like or dislike, observe them and see what you can learn from them, whether that's not what not to do or what to do, right? Anyway, the topic today is things that I learned through observing Cardi B. Cardi B is a controversial figure, to say the least. Okay, um, I can see why she's polarizing. I've always liked Cardi B, but I do want to talk about through observing her over the years since her debut of us, discovering her. I do want to discuss, what I've observed and learned from watching interviews, hearing her talk, listening to her music, because we can learn from anyone, even people we don't like. I like Cardi, but I'm just saying, if you don't, you still can learn from her, and you can learn from anyone, really, if we're being honest. So let's get into it. And you guys, I made myself some notes. um I kind of messed them up though. Some water fell in my notes, but again, at least I made notes. Because, okay, Virgo season, if you recognize my face from any previous internet experience, you know that I have always been a disorganized person. But Virgo season came and brought me a little organization. Just a little bit. Okay, so I actually write notes now when I make videos so I can stay on topic. Okay, I do like the side ramble, so, but here we go. Okay, the first thing that I learned from observing Belcalis is everyone is not going to like you. Okay, this is like the number one lesson of being a Libra or having Libra placements if you're into astrology the way I am. Okay, and I myself am a Libra rising also, so I can identify with this thing where it's not that you want everyone to like you, it's just that you're a peaceful person and you prefer everything to be copacetic, if that's the right word I'm using. You want things to be peaceful. You carry we and I can't speak for every Libra, but generally speaking, me and most Libras I've run into, or people with Libra placements, they want peace. They want peace. They want joy. They want everybody to enjoy themselves, especially people they love and like and admire. And we can't fathom why we're being kind and people are not it's fine if you don't like me, but why are you lashing out at me, if that makes sense? Like, we'll go, Libras are also, if you follow astrology, you know that Libras tend to attract polarization in people, meaning some people really really love Libras and some people really really hate Libras. Okay, I've experienced this all my life and didn't really understand what was happening until I got into astrology. Okay, now I get it. you know um Beyonce is another example of this, and someone with Libra placements. Okay, um but us, we as humans all across the board, because there are a lot of people who are people pleasers or people who experience this besides Libras, but you have to get comfortable with the fact that you can be the kindest person in the world, you could feed the hungry, you could have a great reputation for being the sweetest person or being someone that's likable, and there will still be someone that lashes out at you or comes for you, or like just tries to stir up trouble in your existence for literally no reason other than they don't like themselves, they don't like life, whatever it is. It's, you will be the punching bag. Okay, but what you have to learn is, and what I get from her current run that she's on in interviews, is she's learned to finally, what Libras need to learn is to learn to be the villain and be okay. Learn to be okay being the bad guy. Ironically, that phrase comes from Nicki Minaj. And she probably, I'm sure she had that era herself too, because there was a time when Nicki was more quiet about things, and then suddenly she started lashing out, and to everyone else she looks crazy, but it's probably pent up stuff from forever ago. So that's the first lesson, is everyone is not going to like you, but you have to remain going. You can't let it stifle you. I had an experience like that myself in the past, where you know having all these situations where I was the friend who experienced the chain of envy, and because I'm a lover, I'm not understanding why this is happening. And it took me a while, but I had to learn, like, oh, they're projecting on me. Okay, I reflect something that they wish that they could reflect, or they feel they can't, even though they actually can, because we're all capable. But people who operate on the envy frequency, they don't see it that way. You know what I'm saying? Because again, there are certain people who are susceptible to being envious and people who are not. People who get what they want out of life and feel like they can get what they want out of life tend to not be as envious as people who live on the other side of the spectrum. Does that make sense? Okay. And I'll make a whole video about that, but right now we're trying to stay on topic. The second thing I learned is that I feel as if authenticity and your authentic nature is the highest frequency that you can be in. But one of the major things with Cardi B that everyone just loves is the authenticity, right? It's just the I'm being me. There's no politically correct version. There's no white people version. There's no black people version. There's no hood version. There's just I'm me every setting I go in. And people love that. You know, it makes them feel the pressure is off, and it makes people feel like they can be themselves in any setting. I feel like people can. People still have not arrived to that realization collectively. People still go to work and put on a new voice. People still get around their children. And that's another topic too, and that I have coming up to talk about, but I'm gonna stay on topic. But yeah, people put on many faces, and she doesn't feel she needs to do that in any setting she's in. She owns who she is in all settings, okay? My third one is not what I have written down, but I wrote it down on my way here to make this video. And I wanted to talk about knowing your superpower. She knows her superpower, and I've seen her mention this in video interviews recently with her speech. I believe it's a speech impediment, but people say it's her accent. She stated in the Jay Shetty podcast that she doesn't feel that she has a Spanish accent either. I don't either. I don't. That's not what I get from her accent. You know, I've talked to people who are Spanish or from another country, Spanish speaking country, and although I can hear the accent, it's not what's causing. You know, like I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about, though. I think she may possibly have a speech impediment, which is fine because actually, what she said in the interview was very powerful. What people perceive as her flaw is actually her superpower. It's actually something that makes her seem appear more authentic, and it's also awesome that even though she has that, she continues to make music. She continues to speak and use her voice. Um, and and this is another one that I want to expound in its own video because oftentimes your superpower actually is what you or others perceive as your flaw. There are a lot of people who speak, including myself, who are great speakers, great communicators, but at one point in their life, or even right now, there was something with their mouth. Right? Me, it's my gap. I also spent a long time in early life being quiet, towards my parents and my schoolmates thought that I was mute. I was not mute. I was choosing to be quiet. Right? I'm generally a quiet person, but when I speak, people feel what I say is very powerful. Right? So my superpower is communication, but there were always something going on with this, you know what I mean, like with I was teased for having big lips, you know, so on and so forth. If you can think about something that you have been made fun of, or people draw attention to it, or people it makes people respond a certain way to you, oftentimes that's actually is some correlation between that thing and your superpower, and that relates to all um anything, right? So know your superpower, and your superpower is oftentimes your flaw. Think about that. Think about the things we see. I'm just thinking off the top of my head right now, but there was someone named Rolling Ray, or hell, Shamar. They're famous because of their personalities, but they own their flaws. Okay, let's talk about it. That's true. That's real. That's the time we live in now, especially now. So there's no more excuses to say this is what's wrong with me. I'm imperfect for this reason, so on and so forth. Anything that you have going on, there's a group of people who can resonate with it and will accept it. Okay, so there's no excuses for that anymore. That's number 3. Number 4. This fourth one is really simple for me, and it's a man is never a source of a woman's power unless a man is never the source of a woman's power unless she makes that to be true. Okay, this is something a lot of women need to realize, and I know it sounds like something that is, um, oh, this is just some feminist. Like, no, no. Another person in general is never the source of your power. You're the source of your own power. A lot of women do lie their power into a man, though. They believe that a man is here to lead them. They believe that they're supposed to follow a man, so on and so forth. Like, we've all heard it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Um, but it's just not real. But if you want to give that power away and not see yourself as your own inner source of power, then that's your choice. Okay. And she recognizes that she was doing that. She said that in a song. She said, "I used to think that I needed you." A lot of women believe that they needed. She used to say, I heard her say that a few years ago. She was talking about how he Offset had put her onto a lot of business ventures or something of the sort, which is amazing. And but that's the place of a partner, is to bring abundance. He's a Sagittarius too, so they're ruled by Jupiter. They expound anything that they grow anything that they're any space that they're placed in, for better or worse, or maybe both. And that's great, but that's not something that should hold you up. Thank you, I appreciate you for being a great partner in that aspect, but you weren't in another. Bye. Okay. But for real though, bye. Lower my edges. Anyway, this wig, it's time for it to go. But I look cute. I love blue. Anyway, um for number 5, I had put to discuss her Libra Aries axis. um I myself am an Aries Sun Libra rising, so I had something for that, but I kind of feel like I went over it earlier when I mentioned how Libras can be people pleasers, or the reason why, you know, they want. I think I went over that a little bit. Um, if something more comes back, I'll discuss it later on in the video. Anyway, for number 6, I put hard work, creativity, likability beats talent. Okay. And this is not to say Cardi isn't talented, because I think she's talented in a plethora of ways. I know that people try to attack her for saying she's not a writer. As a poet and an author and a musician myself, when people talk about her writing or lack thereof abilities, I never understand that from any aspect, because if you know anything about the music industry, everything is collaborative, right? Um, People also talk about Rihanna and not writing. I don't know why, because I'm not sure. I haven't dug into that. But the point I'm making is no one can deliver it like Rihanna. Cardi B has a certain sauce, right? That you can give that same song to someone else and it won't be executed the same. The energy won't be the same. That's the thing about everything, right? Everything that you pursue, people will talk about how there are something is saturated. I mean, a lane is saturated, and so should they do something, but will everyone do it the way you do it? Will they have the same energy behind it that you have, right? So I just want to point out that sometimes the hard work you put in, I'll say the work, because I don't believe in hard work, but the work that you put in, the energy you put in, the people liking you, right? To the degree, not gonna be likable to everybody, but being a people's person, and a little bit of creativity will oftentimes take you further than just talent. There are a lot of people who are talented and never get anywhere. Why? Because there are other elements that are included. And if you have all of them, that's even better. But those things will take you further sometimes when you don't have any talent at all. It's just the fact that you're persistent, you believe in yourself, and so on and so forth, right? Anyway, moving on. Number 7, I have own your story. Right? A lot of us, and including myself, I've been guilty of this, wanting to show up already arrived, right? That's not going to happen all of the time. And oftentimes you'll waste time waiting for things to be perfect. I can tell you from experience, as a woman in her 30s, I can assure you that there will never be anything perfect. And I'm pretty sure women and people that are much older than me will tell you the same thing. Like, there will never be a perfect time. There will never be a perfect thing. People on their deathbed have often said that they wish they would have just bend themselves and did what they wanted to do. She knows she was a stripper. She doesn't shy away from that. She knows she has a speech impediment or a certain way she talks that people make fun of. She doesn't care. She knows all of these things about herself that people talk about. She doesn't care. She continues to relentlessly pursue her career, her joy, her talent. She may fall, like she always says, fall down 9 times, get up 10. That's some real Aries energy. Like, that's what we're all about. Okay. I can tell you that from experience as well. It doesn't matter what I go through. And this is not even no strong black woman stuff. It's just literally real. Like, I will never, ever, ever let life or anything or anybody stop me. I may cry for a moment. I may, you know what I mean? And I think that was one of my other ones on here was the whole get down 9 times get up 10. But so I make that number 7, and going into the same going in just, simultaneously. But yeah, own your story. Your story is your superpower. You may feel as if nobody that you're alone in something, but you're never alone. You will be surprised how many thousands, hundreds, millions of people are experiencing the same thing you do. And I can contest to this as well because I've had some interesting life experiences. But through time, I learned that there were other people who had those experiences, and there are other people who have the thoughts that I have. Other people who resonate with my energy, no matter how unique or strange that energy or thoughts are. There are people for me. There's a tribe for me, right? And that's why I'm on YouTube, because I know that. Um. So yeah, don't shy away from it. Tell it, share it, be it. Tell people how to get out of it, whatever that is, however that looks like. Own your story and don't let shit stop you, okay? Don't let nothing stop you. Cry about it, be mad about it for a minute, and go right back to it. Okay? I'm giving y'all a real gem right now, because that's why a lot of people don't get anywhere that they want to be in life, is because they let a lot of things deter them. It does not matter. Like I said, I ain't saying you can't cry and you can't, what I mean, have those feelings, but I'm just saying when you're done, get back to it, okay? And that's what we learned from Cardi B. For number 8, I think we're on. I had intention versus perfection, right? I guess that goes into everything that I've said already about her is, you know, owning her story. She's not perfect, but she moves with intention. She's very calculated. That's the funny thing about for me, when people believes that she's stupid, she's not stupid at all. Just because someone speaks differently and talks a certain way doesn't is not an indicator of ignorance. And I have a whole dissertation about this when it comes to black people, because something about that really is, oh, oh my God. I do want to sound too woke. I do actually want to sound too woke, because some people need to wake up. But really, the English language, if you know, you know. It's not even real. Let's be for real. So, yeah, it's language is not an indicator of intelligence. It's just really not. Um, even doctors say that babies have a higher brain capacity than us, and they can barely talk. So, and it's just, I don't know. Intention, intention versus perfection. Don't seek perfection. Seek consistency and intention. Be intentional about how you move, what you want, and yeah, exist within that without needing perfection, because perfection really, um it really doesn't exist. I know there are some people, I guess I would use Beyonce as an example of perfection. For people like to use her as an example, but I know that she's not perfect. She knows that she's not perfect. That's just y'all, and y'all projecting onto her because y'all are not able to see entire whole people as whole humans. Okay. She's perfect in her reality. I'm perfect in my reality. You can be perfect in your reality, but there will be some people on the outside of your reality who still may receive you as flawed. Do you understand what I'm saying? So even if you think something is perfect, someone out there will still have something to say. So ultimately, there's no perfection, only in your perception, right? So intention is a better aim, because you can always be intentional about everything you do. You can wake up and decide whatever you want your intention to be, right? For number 9, I have the courage to use her voice. This is my favorite thing about her, and one of the first things I noticed, and the first thing that inspired me. She uses her voice no matter what setting she's in. I guess we keep coming back to her voice because, again, that's something people make fun of. But she continues to express herself, which is probably one of the most important things as a woman, is to express yourself. That's I've read articles and research on women in autoimmune diseases and why we have them, and it's oftentimes, and to keep it short, because we bottle everything up. We bottle up our rage, we bottle up our real thoughts, we bottle up everything. So it's refreshing. That's why people resonate with her, especially the group of women that resonate with her, is because she expresses herself in any capacity. Like she doesn't care. She doesn't care. She doesn't care. She may care, but she doesn't. To us, it seems like she doesn't care because she will express herself in any circumstances, and she knows that it feels better. This is a perfect recipe to not get sick, because your thoughts and emotions hiding inside of your body will make you sick. And I can lay testament to that because I've had fibroids, and I'm into spirituality, so I'm always looking for what is the cause of something, right? And it's when it comes to that, especially womb issues and stuff like that with women, it's oftentimes because they are not expressing their emotions, right? They're not expressing their emotions, their real thoughts and feelings. So that is something that I love that she does and continues to do. And I know she talks about sometimes deciding to be quiet because people have made her feel like her thoughts don't and emotions don't matter. But I hope that she continues to be empowered to just continue to talk and piss people off. Okay. So for my last one with Cardi is, and I know this can be a very sensitive topic for a lot of women, so I'm sorry if that this affects you, but her fertility. Okay, this Cardi B and these babies and her desire to have babies, a lot of women hate it, but I love it so much, especially in a time. And it's a reason I'm gonna correlate this to something, so give me a moment. But especially in a time where everyone is saying, I don't want children, the economy, this, the world is bad, all of this, that, and the third, all the things, the body, the men are bad, so on and so forth. All these reasons why women no longer want children, which I completely understand. I have two of my own. Let's be clear, okay? I love children, and I wish I could pop them out. I really do wish that I could just pop out babies. I want some more if the time is right, but I hope that I can have at least one more girl. I have two girls. I want one more. But anyway, the reason why I mention fertility is because a woman in her fertileness, right? Even though children are not our entire purpose, it, I feel like Cardi and her desire to have children, and it's a mindset that she has. It's like a certain energy with her, and it's also why she's so abundant in other areas, right? Fertility is abundance, children, childbirth, the womb, all of the, even when you have money problems, if you know anything about spirituality, right, on a spiritual tip, we know that the lack of resources is related to the womb, right? If you're not feeling that all things are yours, whatever you can have is yours, all that you desire is yours, you are not fertile. If we have money issues, we're not fertile. And they coincide. If you look at yourself, and then look at your reality, look at everyone around you, assess the women in your life, and just sit for a moment and think about it, right? And even though we know that there are women who are in unfortunate experiences with a lot of children, that's because they're the abundance energy that they're harnessing. They only believe that it to be true with children. Does that make any sense? I kind of can't find the words I'm trying to use, but I hope that it's making sense, right? So that same energy can be applied to everything else. Every time you're feeling creative, no, you don't need to have a baby. But in her situation, she's doing all the above, the children, the deals, the business, the music, the so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like, the abundance shows up in her lives in a plethora of ways. And fortunately for her, you know what I mean, she's able to do this with her children as well and provide them that abundance and share that. That is the aim as a woman, is to be able to, if you do have children, to be able to provide abundantly for yourself and them, regardless of the man. Because let's be real, I don't even have to say it, y'all know what I'm talking about. My children's fathers are in their lives, one of them better than the other, but they're there. But I'm just saying, they, y'all already know. I don't gotta tell y'all. We all see it. We all see it. We all experience it to some degree, whether adjacent or in our own personal lives. But your abundance is not. He's not the source of it. Even if he's giving it to you, he's not the source of it. Okay, everybody not gonna understand that what I'm putting down, but a woman is the source of her own abundance. It took me a while to realize this as a woman who, y'all, I used to be a city girl. I was a city girl before it was city girls. Okay, I've been doing that. That's old. That's old news. I already know, but as I gotten older, I realized that I am the source. A woman is always the source of her own abundance, whether the men provide that abundance or not, because they're not all women can even attract a man who has abundance to share. Why? And it's not about looks. It's contrary to popular belief. I know that's the hot topic, but it's not. We've seen women who, what they say, hard wig, soft life. Come on, we already know. You and I, we know y'all. Come on. So I love that she's so fertile. I love that she's having a lot of children. I love that she's having motion and having things. I love that. I think that's the best reality for every woman, especially if she has children, is to have. You should have. We should have. Um, and so anyway, that I feel like I went through that way too fast. But let me know what you think below in the comments about this video. Um, and the points. And if you have any other things that you from observation that you feel like Cardi is exuding that we can learn from. My next video is going to be on Miss Tonika Tanya Mirage. Okay, because we got a whole. I know she gonna get a good 30 minutes out of me because baby, probably an hour. I've been wanting to do a small documentary on Nicki Minaj since I was a teenager, but I just been gathering notes. Okay, I've been gathering notes, and in these recent years, I feel like we have even more to talk about. But yeah, thank you for watching. Just comment and let me know how I did on this video. The feedback will really help me. This may be an audio as well on my podcast. All of my links and things will be in the description wherever you find this. So connect with me and thank you for listening.